know if you can't hear me, just raise your hand. It's been a running joke for many, many years.
It's not a joke.
Much like what Dr. Bodman said, a few of us had actually carried over from racquetball world. As many great stories begin with the phrase, a long time ago, in a health club far, far away. This particular story began, just to give you a little bit of background, at 3 years old I was diagnosed with a hearing impairment that left me with half hearing in both of my ears. Now, for a lot of kids with that kind of challenge, team sports like baseball, basketball, football, anything that's out on the field is not ideal. You can't hear the plays being called from the field, can't hear the coaches, can't figure out what's going on. So when I was inspired by this little movie called The Karate Kid, about a bullied teen and how he learned karate to protect himself and get self-confidence, I decided to beg my mom to start karate lessons. And lo and behold, at Racquetball World, it was being offered there. And at the time, Shihan, like Dr. Bodman said, was not quite a Shihan yet, or a sensei. We all had the same teacher, Mr. Daniel Ahrens, who came from a very traditional style of Goju karate training. And it was brutal. It's probably the only reason why, aside from Luke and myself, there were only 4 or 5 kids in his class. And the rest were adults. So we either had to be as good as the adults, or better, if we wanted to really prove ourselves and make ourselves stick. And it wasn't easy. When Daniel Ahrens left, I wasn't aware of it. As a kid, I wasn't in the inner circle of information just yet. But when Shihan took over at Racquetball World, when it was still his to teach, something changed. The vibe in there completely changed. We didn't have the overbearing discipline of the traditional instructor, which really wasn't that bad if you preferred traditional training. But when Shihan took over, there was a shift. And there was more of a connection because he understood the challenge that I had. He understood the challenge that other people had. And he made it his personal mission as a teacher to be there as a mentor, a guide, a teacher in more ways than one. And that was the sole reason when he decided to found the first school of AMAA, why I wanted to study. I said, I don't care where he's going. Wherever he's going to go, I'm going to follow. That's the example that inspired me. He had a goal and a vision, which I didn't really see at the time because I was too young to understand it, but it was to empower people and enrich their lives through the training of martial arts. For me, at the time, I just was into the physical training aspect of it. I wanted to learn how to protect myself, be able to beat the bad guys and save the day. I wanted to be a superhero for a living. There were no job openings for that at the time. So taking that connection and what he instilled in me, the sense of leadership, the self-confidence, the ability that I can do this, were the really strong reason why I continued to follow Shihan into his foray into the American Martial Arts Academy. And the first school that we opened was only barely 1,100 square feet. I remember his business mentor at the time saying, "This is too small." Well, to us it was a palace. Well, look at it now. So it's come a long way, definitely, since then. And I continued my training there. And when I hit 18, as it does with most adults, life takes you in a different direction. I started to work full-time, and I wasn't able to make my evening classes. I did not forget to come to class. And what was supposed to only be a few weeks or a few months break ended up turning into an extended absence of 13 years. Did I stop training in martial arts? No, I didn't, because I loved it. I loved what I learned from working with Shihan, being at Racquetball World, being in his school, being a teacher to other students during the first 2 incarnations of schools that we had, the 1,100 square foot and the 2,400 square foot place. I loved doing it, and I wanted to continue doing it. So I sought out other teachers and other martial arts styles to continue that and stay connected in a way. But I have to say that even with studying other styles and getting other black belts and learning other disciplines, there was a reason why I came back. And it was because of that connectivity, that family connection, that bond, that, well, as evidenced, look at us tonight. I mean, it really is a true family connection. We are impacting people's lives and helping them change for the better. And when I first walked in here to this facility, I mean, as you can imagine, it was much more different than, you know, the last one that I saw. And I looked at Shihan and I said, you've got to be doing something right. So it was during a conversation with my significant other at the time, we were talking about, what do you want to do for a living? Well, I want to teach martial arts. So how do you go about doing that? I'm not quite sure. So she suggested, why don't you go back to the first teacher that you started with? He was doing it. He was teaching others. He had a school. So I went ahead and consulted with Shihan, and I came back and I explained to him what I wanted to do. I had plenty of time to figure out my life purpose, my reason for existing. I wanted to be able to help people. I wanted to be able to have other people feel the same benefits that I did through training in the martial arts, overcoming obstacles, finding those successes, being able to set goals and being able to achieve them, you know, being something more than what I thought I was, I thought I was already at. And Shihan was definitely a guide in that, and he has been for many other people. You know, and it goes without saying just how much this has impacted a number of individuals. I mean, if I look around the room now, compared to how it was 20 years ago, this is the result, man. This is the result of what you've done. I mean, you can say it's not about you, but you were the one that started it. You know, and I will take the responsibility, as with everybody else, to pass it on the same way that you did. Because this is incredible. I mean, when we have this amount of an effect on people, it's a life-changing occurrence. You know? And I don't think there's anything that can take away from my experiences, even when I was away for 13 years. The same connection that always caused my compass to point me back here, you know, this is the reason why I came back. And I don't think there's anything that can take that away. So, with Shihan, with my gratitude to you and the family for bringing me up, instilling that belief that I can do this, you know, I think that has been one of the greatest things that I could ever hope for. You know, so from the bottom of my heart, I say